Hello, my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well. So the storms keep rolling in and records keep breaking. The Mississippi tornado was rated as an EF4. That's the fourth EF4 in 2020, the most fatal tornadoes since 2012. So we see, in general, the storms seem to be consistently getting worse, and the damage consistently growing, and in the same places again and again and again we're seeing just this destruction going on. So when we look over across in Yemen, and Yemen's gone through an awful lot. There's been this proxy war going on there, 5 to 10 million people facing starvation, and here we have a disaster declaration declared for Aden after flooding kills 10 in Yemen, and you can see how high that water is. We really need to send out our prayers and best intentions for everybody around the globe. And there's more and more meditations going on, global meditations. We need to keep increasing that. Many of you guys have gotten into the habit of doing your own global meditation or joining a group to bring about permanent change, because here we have so much going on. Obviously, the plague upon the land, the earth changes, and we have saber rattling from the idiots in charge of the world. And it really has to stop. We need to get out there. We need to declare our sovereignty on the earth. And it's time that the 0.1% stop making all the decisions for everyone. It's time to it's time to unveil. After all, we're in the apocalypse, which means the great unveiling. Severe flooding threatens millions in Afghanistan, 600 homes destroyed, 3,000 damaged. The food shortages are going to be so apparent and so widespread. Everybody should be doing their own victory garden, quote unquote, term from World War II, as much as possible. And we need to be helping others. And wherever possible, save organic, non-GMO seeds. Save your seeds, guys. You're going to wish you did if you didn't. You have more than a month's worth of rain in 6 hours for New Caledonia, which is basically turning into the new norm. Historic drought in Chile enters the 10th year, country's longest dry spell on record. So we see it's all ends of the extremes. Extremes are what we have. And currently we have 45 ongoing eruptions right now as far as volcanoes. 52 different volcanoes were active so far at some point in this year. Typically it's in the 20s. So it's very active. Conspicuously absent is the Pacific Northwest, which, that's where I feel we're going to see something start this cavalcade, landslide, this big chain reaction. Starting with Cascadia, going down in San Andreas, and then eventually moving across into the New Madrid. And let us hope that Yellowstone doesn't go. I've gotten word from many of you saying you're having dreams of that. And, with all the activity up at Mammoth Lakes, let's look at that really quick. You see, right here we have, if we're looking at USGS Ridgecrest, obviously that's still active ever since the big one down there. There's thoughts that could be a super volcano growing. And then, over here we see Mammoth Lakes. This is super volcano caldera. And, we're looking at 29. So we see swarming going on there. We've had swarming under Carson City. We'd have swarming that has been going on by Goldfield and also Tonopah, which is quiet right now. But we also have ongoing still up in Idaho, 16, and Utah. There's still a few over there. We got 8 of them in the Salt Lake City area. There's a buildup going on, guys. There's a buildup. Now, this is a rare one. Wow. Douglas, Arizona, 3.5. So you don't see them over here as much. Honestly, you guys have asked me what do I think is my number one choice. I would say over in here is really my number one choice. I really like this whole area through here. For one, there's areas in here where there's cliff dwellings, where people are known to have been living like 12,000 years ago, and even into this age. So people survived the Younger Dryas in here. They survived the big flood. They survived all the cataclysms in this area. Then, of course, there's also the legends of the Hopi up here, where they came out from inside the earth thanks to the ant friends, the Anunnaki friends that guided them into the earth and back out of the earth. So I would say, Arizona is a very first choice, as well as New Mexico. This whole central piece would be really my first choice as far as the country. And everybody's different. Everybody has done their own homework and, has their own preferences as well. Got to listen to that inner voice. This is a wild video. I'll let you guys play it. Gigantic 30-foot high ice tsunami engulfs homes. This is in Minnesota. And it actually does just overrun this home. And so, I don't want to play this one because, sometimes you'll get strikes. I've gotten that before from playing strange sound stuff. Amazing. It just engulfs this whole house. So, according to a new science paper, extreme rainfall triggered the 2018 rift eruption at Kilauea. And you know what? The question is, are these guys really geologists? Well, I think most of us put our trust in, at least in these circles, in people like Dutch Sense and a lot of the alternative, because you got to realize that so many of the experts are under the control of the powers that be. And, they're waiting for their grants, which are given to them by foundations, which are controlled by corporations. That's why we don't trust the official experts. And we see Greenland has gained 27 plus gigatons of snow and ice over the past 5 days alone. And, a huge growth there, right? And we can see that, the gain. It's all on the gain side here. But conversely, we look at Arctic ice and the total volume. It's actually at the lowest point since going back to 2004. Still, last year it was the same way for the most part, after the previous year gaining about the most. Curious, we have extremes on both ends. 25 survival foods that should not be stored in the original package. Baking mixes, baking powder, baking soda. So many uses for baking soda. If you guys don't have a vacuum sealer, that's a great thing to get before everything totally hits the fan. Not that it hasn't already. Vacuum sealing. Things will last so much longer. Breakfast cereals, for instance, vacuum seal them. Coffee. And you can store coffee in the freezer too, and that helps. Cookies, I'm a particular one. We really don't eat cookies unless I made them from scratch, in which I would use things like agave and honey and maple syrup to sweeten and not regular sugar. Cornmeal, crackers, dried fruit, dried beans. Vacuum seal as much as possible. Airtight containers as much as possible. Flour or wheat berries. Hard candy, if you go ahead and indulge. Instant mashed potatoes. And I won't judge you guys that do indulge in the candy. Just don't do it if you're sick or if you're fighting something, because sugar lowers your immune system. Oatmeal, pasta, popcorn. There's nothing like popping popcorn the old-fashioned way. I just love it that way. Powdered eggs, powdered milk, salt, shortening or lard. Yuck. As I've shared before, we just use coconut oil, olive oil, and sesame oil for the most part. Spices, sugar, tea, white rice. So as always, guys, thank you so much for your support on Patreon and on Ko-Fi. You guys are keeping us going as we try to build the second channel up. And I want to thank you guys for being part of our family. We love you guys so much. Stay safe out there. God bless and namaste.